Connect streaming software. Connected. Why is it not working? Is it working?
Let me go to YouTube. That's it, bro. So George, you had created a video. Regular fan was the super fan for this
Yeah. It's okay. I mean,
new coronavirus.
coronavirus is much later. This is like last year.
No, but you created that for the new this thing, right? Oh, I
New
think it
season.
started.
We created for new season. What started?
Yeah, it's there. It's live. Yeah, yeah. I was a super fan for this new.
What are you listening to the stream?
Yeah, because you have the stream on. Coronavirus.
Is it on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Switch your screen, bro.
Jesus
To
Christ.
you created that for the new
What is going on?
go to the whereby part.
Wait.
Select the whereby tab.
I mean, it should change now. That's ridiculous.
Oh, there you go.
This is beyond me, beyond my technical knowledge.
Okay.
If it's on, then
It
please
is
mute
what-
it. Please mute the YouTube.
Yeah. It's gone.
Okay.
It is.
It's
what
okay.
it
I mean,
is.
it's not like anybody missed us. We are still on 0 viewers, so it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. It's all good.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna start. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Go.
Yeah, starting to record. I'll
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go. Is it recording?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna start, and then let's see where this takes us.
Cool.
All right. Perfect. Oh, that's actually okay. All right, let's do this. Season 3, episode. Is it 16?
I think it's
I think it's 16. Let me just check. Confirm. Raw file. 16. Yes. No, 16 is done. It's 17. 15 was with. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay.
exactly.
Season 3, episode 17. Let's go. Bye bye dances, say hi Mondays. It was good while it lasted. This substitute in May. For real NBA, we would have been watching the conference finals and debating Claw versus the King, not listening to this dawdle on the Ballers Bay NBA podcast, your favorite NBA podcast in an Indian accent. We are back after an extended break where we tried interacting with ourselves in our lockdown states and decided that the fact that you can't break up with yourselves needs to be looked at again. I've counted the number of tiles in my bathroom, the notches on my doors, and how many times does a washing machine spin your load in a minute. Speaking of cleaning, I've got with me, as always, someone who washes dishes as therapy, someone whose passport is wondering whether everything is all right, and someone who I believe sends articles to every website claiming that a former swimmer from the US Virgin Islands is actually the best NBA player who ever played. Vineet Devaya, welcome back to the pod. We are so glad you could join us amidst this
Oh my
catastrophic time for
God.
NBA podcasters.
Yes, my friend. That was a very good introduction.
Thank you very much. I've been
How
dusting
did
the
you get the
cobwebs.
whole? How did you get the whole sending links to?
It's not a coincidence that every other link you send is of Tim Duncan being the greatest NBA player.
It's not every other link. It's not every other link. It's
Or is
maybe
it-
like one out of five, I would say.
I would disagree. We will call our people from the NBA Wallahs group. Shout out to the NBA Wallahs group to verify this
Yeah.
fact, but I'm sure they'll back me up on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I just speak the truth.
Yeah, well,
I'm a truth sayer.
so that guy is the greatest NBA player of all time.
No, no, no. I
No.
mean, I think he makes a strong case of for it.
Mm.
And we will discuss this in
We
our
will discuss it.
upcoming
Yes, that's true.
GOAT series
Yes, that's good. See,
that we are
but I
going
mean,
to have.
I think it's really interesting that when we know that basketball is like a team sport. You can't win as
Yes,
with one player. But then when we talk about goats, we're talking about an individual playing a team game. So, which is why it's always very interesting for me that how do you convert a player's singular what is it, what he brings to the table into what he brings to the table for a team, right? Because I think
mm,
any NBA all-time great team would be incomplete without Magic Johnson, Jordan, and Tim Duncan, because they were like consummate team players, like people who knew how to get others involved, how to do their role, and because I really think that. But if you ask me, then Will Chamberlain will always be in my team because I'm a huge Chamberlain fan, right?
mm,
So, and I think Bill Russell should also be in that team because he also elevated his teammates. So you already have 3 or 4 slots gone just because you have
yeah,
such amazing team players who achieved success. And even though they may not be the greatest of all time, but because basketball is a team player, they'll always be the greatest of all team.
okay.
Okay, you're supposed to laugh at that. Okay, all right, it's okay, it's all right.
I
And
Greatest of all team. What does that mean?
it's a play on the greatest of all time. It's not greatest of all time. It's greatest of all team. The greatest team of
All
all
right.
time.
Okay. Fine.
It's okay. It's okay. Our zero viewers will not have any
It's.
issues
I
with
think.
that.
I think that your comical energies are being sucked
Oh,
into other spheres of
I see. I see what
influence.
you're talking about. Okay, all right. We will not delve too much into it, but I mean, at least for our
That's
listeners
what
on
I told.
Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and every other podcast that is available, we just want
And
to
the
say that.
YouTube live that's going on.
So, man, like, stop. So, I was saying that those listeners should know that we are actually doing this on YouTube. So, next time you get a notification, please subscribe to our channel. And next time you get a notification, please join us live and let us know what you feel. You will be hearing this a little bit delayed, probably by the weekend. But yeah,
Or
that's
next
that's
weekend.
that's what
Depends.
I've got to say. I mean, I think people will be more interested in knowing how you use washing dishes, which has now become a staple as therapy for you. Because I remember that from a Twitter thread that I was stalking you on. Hashtag no lie. So are you still washing dishes? Does it still therapize
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is it has always been like therapy for me, and I try to like wash as many dishes as possible. Yeah,
No, that's it.
that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah, what else?
Okay, then I think we should not waste any more time. Zero viewers are will get pretty bored out of their minds if we start talking about
Yes,
our personal thing. We'll get to it in the middle of the thing, but yeah, uh, I'm sure you caught the last 2 episodes of the Last Dance,
the last dance.
the Last Dance of the Last Dance, episodes 9 and 10.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I would have watched any content. Like if you gave me Kenyon Martin and Kwame Brown, I would have been like, yeah, oh my god, what a great documentary, amazing. Yeah. But it helps that it had Jordan on it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very very good documentary in terms
Hmm.
of like just I think like the production quality etc. was really good.
Yeah.
It gave an insight on Jordan. Like he spoke about some certain things, certain parts of you know his journey that probably he didn't speak about that openly before, especially like the Isaiah Thomas Detroit Pistons part of it, and then he gave a lot huge props to the Reggie Miller
Hmm.
Indiana Pacers team, which I always felt was kind of underrated for like what they achieved in that. I would say maybe like 97, 98, 99, 2000. I think 2001 they reached the finals.
No,
Or was that
2000 they
2000?
reached the finals.
2000 the finals. So that was a really good team. Unfortunately, Reggie Miller went against Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal,
Uh,
all in their primes. So really, there was no getting that ring
uh-huh.
for Reggie Miller,
And
and
then
so
they ran into Detroit also. I think that was probably the last chance that they had.
Yeah, the
Like in
last
the
chance I had,
uh,
and yeah, it was Reggie Miller was very very unlucky. It was a good team, well coached by Larry Bird. Um, anyway, so I was very happy that he gave props to them
mhm.
because they were a very good team. Um,
I mean, he called them the
and
toughest team that they'd faced. So that's, I mean,
other than the Detroit Pistons,
other
that's what
than
I
the
said.
Detroit. Yeah, I mean, Pistons and him. Yeah. So
Yeah, which I felt was like an underhanded comment because I thought the Jazz were like the toughest for them.
uh,
Jazz unfortunately were very unlucky. Like if you look at the games that Jazz played against Michael Jordan, like you know, there was a lot of luck involved in like the Bulls wins, and I think Game 5 of that series against the Jazz that they won, they don't talk about the 30-point game that Tony Kukoc played.
mhm.
Like there's a lot of stuff that they don't talk
No,
about.
we'll discuss the things that they didn't talk about in a different
Oh, okay.
segment. But we were just trying to get
Have
first
segments.
impressions. Segment,
Okay.
the water segment manager. I'll take a break. I'll put a sound effect, and then the next thing is a segment. Just look at it that
Right,
way.
right.
But first
Okay.
impressions about the documentary. I mean, let's not go into too much detail because.
Okay, so first impressions, very well done, very well, produced, directed, whatever, edited,
Mhm.
and all the expected figures there. I don't know if was Kobe Bryant there.
Yeah, it
I
was.
think he was there. He was
Yeah,
there in the
what documentary did you see that you didn't catch Kobe Bryant? Please, you have to explain to
No,
our zero viewers.
I remember that there was a segment of him and Michael Jordan. I don't remember if he was there like as a cameo, but I now that I think about it, I remember him as a cameo.
As a
As a cameo, like they asked him some questions and
Yeah,
he
yeah, they
answered,
asked him
right?
a question. He was wearing his orange hoodie and he was answering questions. My God,
Yeah, yeah. So
that was the episode I got a little emotional and I was like, oh shit, this is too soon,
too
uh,
soon it seems. My
too soon.
God.
And
Sorry.
hater, like,
I'm not. No, not a hater.
hey,
Not a hater.
hey, type hater in the comments. Zero viewers, please go for it. Type hater
What do you
Vinny.
mean? How is hater? If I hated Kobe
Uh,
Bryant would not be in my top 15 or top 10.
he's not in your top 10.
He's not in
Please,
my top 10.
so calm down.
No, but
Exactly.
he could
Type
make.
hater.
But he could.
I only type hater. Wait a minute. Let me just type it.
But he could. But he could
How do you
make
type
a
hater?
top 10 appearance, depending on like what you pick as the criteria, right? If you pick you know glamour and like
Okay, okay.
influence, NBA influence.
Let's not go there.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Think. So I mean, for me, obviously, very well made documentary. If you're watching it with someone, right, and let's say I was watching it with someone and I was explaining to them, this is what has happening, this is what is happening, which I kind of did. They
Right.
would be so impressed by how the documentary was made, the character of Michael Jordan, right? I mean, it seemed like he could do no wrong, which we'll come
Yep.
into in the cons part of the document. Like, it seemed like Jordan was one person who had bad luck till in the 80s completely, like who showed signs of greatness, signs of being unstoppable, could not cross that Celtics Pistons barrier. And then in 90s he exploded out of that barrier and then he was unstoppable, right? Like his work ethic,
Right.
even his bullying part is shown in a different way. Whatever. I mean, he's shown as as the perfect protagonist of a
Mm.
documentary series. Like everything is does is right. Even when he does something wrong, there's a nice justification
Yeah.
for it.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a nice little play on it, right?
Right.
I mean, even if he's a bully, he's like, I bullied them only so that they could be better.
They could be
If he
better.
says that Republicans buy sneakers, so he's like, oh, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
If his gambling goes over, it's like I only gambled with how much money I had. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is so beautifully tied up that if you're not a podcast, if you're just watching it casually, you will be like, goat, Michael Jordan, goat. He took everything. He left the game, then played baseball, then he came back. Blah 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 blah. Everything is done like this. It's too good to be true.
Perfect.
It's too good
Yeah.
to be true, kind of a thing. But I had an absolute ball watching it. There were some things I did not know about the Scottie Pippen the contract of Scottie Pippen thing, the Dennis Rodman
Yeah,
going in the middle of the finals to a WWE game,
that was
uh,
crazy.
Phil Jackson's like him buying into like Jordan buying into the triangle offense, even though under who was that Brett Brown? No, who was that Doug Collins? He had
The
more.
first guy. Yeah, Doug,
Under
yeah.
Doug Collins, he had free reign in doing whatever he wanted to do. So,
Mm.
like I've always felt that Russell Westbrook in today's NBA has the most uh, similar to Jordan, apart from obviously like he makes some really questionable decisions at time, but that one track attack, that kind of features, I've always felt that Westbrook has embodied that more than anyone else. Like I mean, after Kobe, of course, Kobe has the rings to prove it, which Russ does not. But that has always been the case. But I mean, I don't think Russ will ever be as horrible to his teammates as Jordan was. So that was my first feel of the documentary. Like
The
amazingly well
dog.
made documentary, like an amazingly well made documentary. But we are not fanboys, so we are going to have to deep dive into it a little bit.
Yes. No, I mean, we are all fanboys of Jordan. Like any basketball player or a follower or NBA fan, they are definitely a fan of Jordan. Like
Mhm.
there's no like denying that. But I think what we're not a fan of is the myth and the storytelling that surrounds Michael Jordan. Probably, at least we don't like blindly just believe that stuff.
Uh-huh. I mean, which is just come back to bite us in the ass multiple times, but
Multiple times.
multiple
Yes.
times.
Multiple times.
But we shall continue in our job as unpaid journalists, unpaid, unaccredited journalists. There you go with that. Okay, all
But
right.
for everyone that's watching the live stream, this is just very, very diluted coffee.
Yes. Vinny does not drink alcohol.
Mm.
Plus, he is professional enough to not drink while recording as well.
Abs-
But firstly, he does not drink. But secondly, he's professional.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around? Firstly, he's very professional, he will not drink. Secondly, he does not drink.
I think the first one. Because if I was very professional, I wouldn't even be drinking water, like diluted.
No.
So
We've got our first comment. Our famous world famous comedian Ramya Ramapriya said she loves Air Jordan. So, and then she says, "Wish I could go back in time and hit on Michael Jordan." Okay, all right. We will tell her that it is Jordan, Jordan, like the country. But I think she's already left the chat. Okay, yes. We love these random passerbys. So all these famous people with a million views and all. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll not let fame distract us. We'll only let money distract us.
We're all about money distract us.
Okay. Yes. So
Okay,
yes,
so
Vinny,
that's the first impression.
That's the first impression. Now, what is the second impression that you had about the series?
I think the second impression for me was just that like Isaiah Thomas lives rent free in St. Michael set, which I love. I think it's well established that the Piston Bad Boys,
bad blood with the bad boys.
Is my second favorite team of all time, and so I was very happy to see that that people still like they have like if you talk about say I don't know, I mean let's say Spurs, no one has really any like visceral reactions towards the Spurs. Oh yeah, they're a great team.
Yeah, of course they pass the ball, they will win. Yes, great coach, great players. Yeah.
So I don't. So I never get like a meaty argument, like a debate. Whenever I say, "Oh, Spurs are the best, greatest team of all time," it was like, "Yes, I can see that. We can see that." And that's it. Like no one fights me tooth and nail to that argument, right? It is like I'll win that argument hands down, and everybody knows that like you could make an argument for the Spurs being one of the best teams of all time, right? But like the Detroit Pistons are like they have this love-hate. Like people either hate love to hate the Detroit Pistons. So
Mm.
for me, it was great to see that rivalry. It sparked some sparks in certain chat groups, and it was fun. I think just that was my second biggest takeaway was the
Mm.
Detroit Pistons were pretty badass in their time and really had a huge influence on the 90s. The 90s were modeled after the Detroit Pistons because they were just so good. So like we had the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat
Mm.
that came after it, which were like very, very physical. Um, so yeah, that was my second biggest takeaway was Detroit Pistons are still relevant, still have a lot of hate, and that Isaiah Thomas lives rent free in Michael
Johnson.
Jordan's head.
Yeah. I mean, on a personal level, have you ever uh, kept a grudge alive so long that it festers in your head? Somebody is always an man. Like you think about that person,
Mm,
you're like, no, I don't like that person, and I will tell people that I don't like that person. Like for me, it's a little passive aggressive, as in if I don't like that person, I'll not. I mean, I'll definitely not like that person, but I'm not gonna tell anyone that I don't like them. I'll pretend to be like, no, man, it's okay. Who, what, who you're talking about? Like that'll be
got
my
it. Mm.
sort of a deal. I'll try to ignore that person because especially in Jordan's case, he lost twice to them, but he beat them and then he sent them away, right? But
Right, right.
so
Mm.
do you think he has a problem with the fact that he could not beat them when they were at their prime?
I think what he has a problem with, from what I understand and what I glean from that
Oh,
very well orchestrated, uh,
interview.
you know, interview of Michael Jordan was
Interview
that
masquerading as a documentary. Yes.
as a documentary. Um,
Please don't unsubscribe.
um, please subscribe. Jordan's the
Yes.
best. God.
Nah, okay. Yes.
I think was that he did not like the fact that people thought that he was petty enough to like get Isaiah Thomas to not be
Ah,
a part of the
dream team.
Olympics
Yeah.
dream team.
Mm.
I think that's what pissed him the most, where he was just like, I never did it, I never said it. And but if you look at all the interviews before that, right,
Mm.
he's like, no, I'm not going to play for the Olympics. I don't know, why should I play? I've already been to like he really dragged his feet along, till people are like, okay, we know what you want. We'll just give you what you want,
Yeah.
and
I mean, if you're telling me that you would pick Chris Mullin, see, no offense to Chris Mullin, okay, like amazing shooter, like left-handed shooters are one of my favorites. But if you're gonna take Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and not take Isaiah Thomas, the only thing is you don't want to make it uncomfortable for people on the team, and I can understand that, right? Like
yes,
Isaiah Thomas
yes,
probably has fought with or made people fight with against every single person in that team, probably except Christian Leitner, only because he was not in the league at that time. So I can
correct,
understand that inhibition that you would have. I don't want to play with the person with whom I share very negative feelings, right? Because it was definitely not like if you add Isaiah Thomas, they were not going to whoop every team by 30, 40 points.
easy, yeah,
Yeah, that was not going to be the case. And
right,
I don't think Isaiah Thomas would have been a bitter person in 92, right? Like it's not like he would have froze Michael Jordan like he did in that All-Star game where he said, oh, let's
right.
all gang up against Jordan, not pass him the ball. So the only reason that they could have done that is to make sure that Jordan does not even have a second thought. As in, should I be there? Should I not be there? No thoughts whatsoever. We have taken away the only obstacle in your which you could have been thinking of, and let's even pretend that you didn't say it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, that it was very obvious, and like the thing is, Michael Jordan is probably I think he's the richest sports person right now. I think, if I'm
I
not
think,
wrong.
yeah. I mean, I think Tiger Woods was, but since that beautiful day in 2005 or six or something, I think it's all Michael Jordan. I would
And
think
I
so.
think,
Hmm.
yeah, and I think he also is the most influential basketball star. So nobody, all these other guys, they're not going to like piss off Michael Jordan by saying,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Michael Jordan definitely didn't want
Uh,
Isaiah Thomas. I
yes.
think they're just going
He
to be like,
told me. Yeah.
no,
No.
like no one's going to say it. I think
Hmm.
the only person who like actually went ahead and said it was probably Clyde Drexler told it. And I
Hmm.
think Reggie Miller kind of hinted at it where he said like, it is the only possibility was that because if Michael Jordan wanted Isaiah Thomas on the team, Isaiah Thomas would be on the team.
Huh. I mean, I don't think he
So
advocated for Isaiah Thomas, but I think the contention is that he said we don't want him on the team instead of saying we want him on the team. Because if you don't say we want him on the team, that's understandable. Like I'm sure he was not in charge of the team, but what I'm saying is the U.S. Basketball Association, or the USBA and NBA, who decided that this year professionals will be allowed to participate. They would have had a chart and said that I think the best way to go about it, if we want Michael Jordan to unanimously say yes, is to tell him before he asks that your Isaiah Thomas is not going to be in the team. Instead of complicating things and being like, do you have a problem, and then putting the onus on him to
on him
reject
to
it.
like, yeah.
Which it's petty, but nobody's
It's fine.
gonna.
I mean, it's okay. It's just that like he still has feelings about like him being blamed for it, and I just feel like what? It's dude, you're the one of the greatest players. Like you are probably the greatest NBA player of all time. If you don't want somebody on the team, you should be able to voice it, and that's fine. Like Isaiah Thomas can get butthurt about it, and that's okay. But like I think even Isaiah Thomas said in the open court is like, if Michael Jordan doesn't want me on the team, I totally understand it. Like I feel bad about it that I was left out, but I totally understand it. I'm totally fine with it. Right?
Yeah.
So I just don't think like he should just like accept it and just be like, yeah, you know what, I just didn't want it. I don't think people would really care. I think. I think what people.
Looking at the result, I don't think anybody was like, oh no, we would have beaten all the teams by 50 plus points and all. I don't think that would have been possible as well, right? Like it's not like Isaiah Thomas in his prime. It was old Isaiah Thomas as well.
Yeah.
Like you can understand that, but at no point are we saying that you should have replaced him. We're just saying that why can't you just accept that Jordan said no, I don't want this piece of shit on my team, and let's just go with that. And as Michael Jordan, he's allowed to make certain requests.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the best player in the planet.
Absolutely. My God, like some of the moves. I've seen more or less every Jordan highlight there is to see, YouTube or whatever there is. But just to see it with so much context, कि ये play के पहले क्या हुआ था, what happened the day before this, and all of that was like a real treat to watch. I think I'm gonna start watching it again next week onwards. I'm gonna start with episode 1 and 2 again and make it seem like it's the first time I'm watching it.
Oh my God, that's a little too much.
I like I said, like you give me Kwame Brown and Arrividas Damontes Sabonis documentary also, I'll be like, oh, very interesting, very, very interesting.
But I think for me there was nothing new except for probably like how bad Scottie Pippen was treated, and how even I think like some of the stuff that Scottie Pippen did where like he didn't play the last minutes of the game. I had not like I had not followed basketball then, so I didn't really.
No, I knew about that incident. You watch highlights, you hear about things and all, and I had known about that incident, but I did not know that it was in that year when Jordan was not there. I didn't know that it was done at that time, because I knew that it was done, and I knew that Kukoc got the shot and he hit the game-winning shot, but I didn't realize like it was a playoff time game. Like that is what is most.
It was a very important time.
Exactly. Scottie was the leader of the team the whole year. Like he was leading in points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, everything. Like he was the LeBron James before LeBron James.
Yeah.
Sort of like putting out those sort of numbers, right? And
what was for you? What was the one thing that you didn't know that you found out? Like either shocked or like wow, I never knew this was.
I think I knew more or less all the things, but the most touching moment for me was when after the '96 finals, uh, on Father's Day when they beat Seattle, and
Right.
Jordan just collapses on the floor and he's crying, and all these cameras are just shooting him crying. I'm like, come on, man, just give this guy some space. But if they had given him space, then we would not have seen that. So I'm like, weighing the process. But that moment was like really something. I mean, then I went and read some things about Jordan's dad being a not so nice kind of guy. But
That's okay. I mean, it's just human, right? You don't have to be
huh,
a nice person. Yeah.
I mean, from what I read, he was an absolute shitty person. I was being very nice when I said not nice, but I'm saying even like you ignore all that and you focus on the like the fragile nature of Jordan at that moment, right? Like his dad was
Mm.
there with him throughout all his championships, throughout all his big achievements, everything.
Right.
He was there, and now he won it in what is considered to be the best team of all time, the 72-10 team, and he just collapses, right? That and the fact that he lost motivation after winning the third championship is something that I could not imagine. Like that
Mm-hmm.
thought never occurred to me that someone like Jordan, who is Kobe's father kind of thing, right? Like if Kobe's junior Vader, he's the senior Vader, that kind of thing. Like whatever Kobe has, Jordan has two times of it.
Okay, yeah, we get it.
Yes. So I could never
You
imagine
just want to say
Kobe.
Kobe, Kobe, and
I just want
Kobe.
to say Kobe, man. Like that was another moment, but that has nothing to do with Jordan. So the fact that I could never imagine Kobe losing motivation and saying that I've won enough, so I don't want to do it. I don't see what I want to do next. Like with Kobe and Shaq, it would have been like, oh, we won one, we have to
That's
win one
because
more.
Kobe really didn't have to work too hard, right? Because you had Shaq.
That is actually, I think that is probably like but even Shaq didn't have that motivation. But Shaq was not a that driven kind
You
of person,
couldn't
right?
stop Shaq, man.
You couldn't stop Shaq, but Shaq didn't really give a shit till playoff time. I mean,
Yeah, but
even
who
without giving a shit,
cares?
it put up number. That's not the
Yeah,
point. What I'm saying is the whole thought process of you could lose motivation as something at something that you love is very humanizing, right? Like it
right,
shows
right,
that
right.
you have human emotions.
That's
It's
yeah.
not
That's
just
an interesting takeaway. Yeah,
it's
that even someone who's so like just rabidly passionate, you
about
know.
success, and he gets
Right.
tired of success. He's like,
Mm.
I'm not motivated enough to succeed anymore, which I thought was extremely suspicious, as well as I was like, okay, this man is
No,
human. This man is
yeah. I mean,
human. Hmm.
I think I don't believe the rumors that like Stern like asked him to leave
Hey,
because
what?
of
That's a nice
gambling.
rumor, man.
No, man. I mean, Stern is the biggest capitalist. You know,
Ah,
I mean, I always was surprised that the Spurs would win because their games
small
were
markets.
so boring, so boring. Like even
uh,
though I was a fan, I should be like, oh my god, this is the most boring game I'm watching. Like till they went into the whole passing,
hmm.
all that stuff. They were very boring. So I feel like Stern would try his best to like make sure that the Spurs didn't win, but the Spurs are so good. Um, I just wanted to say Spurs.
Okay,
Um,
thanks. All right.
okay, so what's the
Uh,
next?
the
Now he
third takeaway.
has
Third takeaway from the day.
so how many take
Like first impression, second impression, now third impression.
zero preparation as
I
as
think
a host, my friend.
hey, well, preparation is for really
What is
powerful
your first
performers.
takeaway? What's the second?
Is that for third impression? Now, third impression for me, I'll start and you can end. It's about
Okay, okay.
how like Phil Jackson used to manage personalities, right? Like
Hmm.
I've always felt that Phil Jackson's his managerial style is a little interesting. It works because he gives respect to all those people. Excuse me, but also like he knows how to deal with each person in a group. Like
Right.
one of my most interesting topics to talk about is how individuals behave in a group, right? Like even if you put five individuals with five different personalities in a group, like they will all sort of like iron filings, they will some of them will group together. Some of them will group together.
Mm.
Even if it's a group of like 6 close friends, you'll always have a mini group somewhere and mini group somewhere. The idea is not to stop the creation of these groups. The idea is to make sure how the 5 people together, the team together works even with the presence of this groups, which is
Mm.
something that I've always been interested in. And I mean, they didn't delve too much into it, but at least it showed that Phil Jackson realizes that you can't manage everybody the same. Like there are some people
Right.
who will be very easy to manage. There'll be some people who will be difficult to manage, but you want them because what they provide, no one else can provide. I mean, prime example is your Dennis Rodman, right?
Right.
He's like, I'm gonna do this. I need 2 days. I need like a vacation. And Jordan is like, if anybody needs a vacation, I need a vacation. It's like, no, no, you are not that kind of guy. Rodman is not this kind of guy. Rodman can't work without being Rodman, right?
Right.
He goes, puts on drag uniforms, has a different haircut. Like he needs to do all of that and yet be a beast on the court. And for you to manage that, for people to not feel like you're giving him some leeway, so that there is discontent on other side, stepping in to stop Jordan from bullying people too much. Steve
Mm.
Kerr's story was very fascinating for me as well. So all of
Right.
that I think brought together because that coach knew that to win, like the team will win, the individual will not win. So that I thought
And
was
yeah, that's good. That's a good take on it.
pretty interesting for me.
Mm.
And what is your third impression, Vineet?
My third impression, I think, for me was um, how. I mean, I think I don't know if this is like really an impression, but I always knew that Scottie Pippen was very important for the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that Michael Jordan always like says, he was the most important part of like when I mean he, I mean Scottie Pippen was very important. But I think uh, the fact that they started the documentary with MJ saying that if you say I won 6 rings, something like that, right? Like you cannot say I won 6 rings without saying Scottie Pippen also,
One,
like something like that,
yeah.
like
He
something
said,
very
yeah,
like
very
you can't talk about the 6 rings without talking about Scott. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right. So and I thought that was very fascinating because he didn't have to do it.
Hmm.
He didn't have to start the documentary with saying that you have to give Scottie Pippen like the credit. Like I think in the first 5 minutes he says that. So I think that really for me was shocking because I wouldn't consider him to be like
So
so grateful.
magnanimous.
And he said, yeah, and he also says that in his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, yeah.
So he genuinely feels that Scottie Pippen really, really helped him out. And I think that for me was kind of shocking because for a guy like Michael Jordan, who's, it's kind of, there's a part of him which is also a little bit, what's the word for that? Where you think you're the shit.
Uh, I'm the shititis.
No, it's just like, like, I forgot the word for it, but
Non-humble,
it's like, no, like
pride,
what do you say this like short people have, right? They are like, is it
inferiority complex. No, the need to prove their balls. No, need to prove their
something
chops.
like that. Basically like Michael Jordan would always be like, how he would just get like pissed at people and be like, oh, you're the shit. Like I'm gonna like defeat you. Like he had
Uh,
all of that stuff.
uh,
So for him to like start off everything by saying that you need to give Scott like that, I think just
yeah,
speaks volumes about Scottie Pippen's like
yeah. Yeah, I
uh,
understand what you're saying. Yeah, that's
contribution because it had to be at that extent where a guy like him had to accept and talk about the fact that Scottie Pippen was as important for
yeah.
the success.
Yeah.
And I think they
Uh,
were very good friends too.
our
I think
viewer has said the word is cocky. Is that what you mean? Meant?
cocky. Yeah,
Okay.
cocky is a good word.
Okay, cocky is a good
Yeah.
word. Thank you, listener.
Who's the listener?
Listener is the same listener only.
Oh, same listener. Right. Okay, got it.
Okay.
You could have come up with listener two, some name, no?
Yeah, I don't want to lie on TV, man. Like if I get caught, then maybe it'll be
Fine,
good, right?
fine.
Like podcast owner gets caught live lying about his stats. And like, whoa,
But
whoa,
that could be a document.
yeah, 10 times this podcast owner has, but this podcast creator has lied on his podcast. Like, whoa. I know who will be creating that article though.
Exposed.
Expose. And then put
Yeah,
up
so
my.
that was my biggest takeaway, I think.
It's not the biggest takeaway. That's the third biggest takeaway.
Not biggest.
Third
Takeaway.
Third impression. Yes.
Is your fourth
No,
question?
we don't have a fourth impression. That'll be too much. But out of the side pieces, I think I loved Dennis. I loved Rodman's story. I loved Steve Kerr's story about him being they just find the white boy who can shoot, like Paxson in the first 3 feet and then Steve Kerr in the second.
That's correct. I mean, I think the Steve Kerr arc, right, is so interesting because I mean Steve Kerr really doesn't come off as a basketball player to me. Like every time I watch Steve, like honestly, he is not very athletic, right? So there's something about I think Steve Kerr's personality, which like I think attracts people or like gives people the confidence that this guy can do something. Obviously he's highly intelligent.
Also, he's 6'3". Okay.
Still, I mean that's nothing.
But still
6'3", man. It's almost your height. Yeah, what 6'1", right?
Let's stick to that. Yes.
No, which shoes, bro?
With shoes, I'm 6'2". Yes.
Yeah. So imagine your height guy, like playing NBA.
I mean that I did dream about playing the NBA.
Yeah, dreams never come true, my friend.
That is not a takeaway that you kids should take from this podcast. Dreams do come true.
Dreams don't come true.
You can dream differently though. Don't dream about being a 6'1", 78 kilos boy who's going to make it to the NBA. You should bulk up a little bit more, work out a little bit, and then we'll see. Why not?
And also have a decent enough game.
That you can work on. The other things you can't work on.
Fair enough.
You can't reach height. Okay.
So for me, the Steve Kerr arc was really interesting because it's just like, he's been a part of, the Spurs championship too. He's been a part of the Bulls, and then he went on to like coach the Golden State Warriors.
The Suns. He was GM of the Suns, I think.
GM. So there's something about Steve Kerr, I think, that like people find, I would say, like confidence. Like he exudes a certain kind of confidence that people say, okay, banda kuch kar lega,
Do you think it's because he hit Michael Jordan back that this is like he has the confidence that if I can hit the GOAT, then what do these other people have?
But he didn't really hit the GOAT. He got hit by the GOAT. He just kind of like...
No, I think Michael shoved him and he shoved him back or something, and then
He shoved him back. Then Michael punched him, right? He didn't punch back.
And Michael is a 220-pound, 6'6" guy. Black guy also.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary, I must be. I'm saying to get, to be like, I didn't stand down to Michael Jordan must be pretty more, it must be stimulating in itself.
Fair enough. But I just feel like there's more to that story. Like, there's more to his presence. Like, he's probably going to go down as one of the most successful players, coaches, GMs of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? Like, that's not an easy feat.
So 5 championships as player and 3 as coach. Well, 3 as coach? 3 as coach, yeah.
That's 8. That's more than Pat Riley, more than anybody. I think the only Phil Jackson is more than him. And Red Auerbach.
Red Auerbach, probably, yeah.
So, there you go.
There you go. Little Stevie Kerr doing great things.
So, that arc is pretty interesting for me. Okay. He probably may end up with 2 more championships, I think. If the Golden State Warriors get Giannis Antetokounmpo, which seems very viable.
You think, okay, no, I agree. Giannis is not an upgrade on Durant, but he could be just as dangerous on the Warriors if they can
So
keep.
what? Firstly, this whole Kevin Durant is like
Oh,
much better than
okay.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Please,
Okay.
let's stop all this stuff.
You
Right?
don't think that's true?
He is slightly better than Giannis
No,
in
wait.
offense.
He is much more rounded than Giannis. I don't think slightly is cuts it. He's much more unstoppable than Giannis.
Yeah, his offense is a little bit more better than Giannis.
He has more range than
But
Giannis.
Giannis
He has more moves
Giannis
than Giannis.
defense.
Giannis's defense is
like
coming. Giannis's defense is. I think it's a little overrated. It's just coming out of the weak side to go and block the guy because he's 7 foot tall. That's not defense. That's just
but
you're
that's
taking
like
advantage of
literally
him.
locking down the paint.
No man, like I think you're taking away a lot of credit from the Bucks.
So you're saying
Brook Lopez and all
you're
those
saying
boys.
You're saying Ben Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo, Tim Duncan, they're all not good defenders.
No, when did I say
Just
that?
because they're top.
No, Giannis.
but that's
if
what
you've seen
Giannis
Giannis defend, Giannis's defense does not come from like being on the guy. I think his. No, I don't think he's as good as. I mean, even Durant is not that great.
Make a point.
My point is Giannis is not that great.
Not good.
Giannis is not that great of a defender. He might be better than Durant, but that's not really saying anything. That's just
see this. You remember that article where I sent you Tim Duncan is the best two-way player of all time.
Okay.
By a huge margin. Right?
Yes.
And the reason is because his offense is good and his defense is also good.
Absolutely.
Right. So in that metric, you can say Kevin Durant's offense is better. Agreed. No doubt about it. Right. But Giannis will give you 30 plus. It's not a downgrade. Like yes, Kevin Durant can get easier shots.
I'm saying when you speak about it,
he can probably get you like 34, right? But Giannis can get you 30. Right? But on defense, Giannis is far more useful and better than Kevin Durant. And he does both. It's not like, like Kevin Durant, when he wants to switch on, switch off, whatever he wants to, he can do. Giannis like hangs his hat over defense. So my point being that his impact on a team is far higher on both ends than Kevin Durant. So I'm not saying Kevin Durant is I'm not saying Giannis Antetokounmpo is an upgrade than Kevin Durant specifically for the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
But he is not like Kevin Durant is not so much more better than Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is my point.
It's an interesting point. I mean, it's wrong, but still interesting point. We will let our we'll let our listeners chime in on this. Please let us know who you think is better, Giannis Antetokounmpo or Kevin Durant. Or, I mean, specifically the question is there a huge difference between Warriors losing Durant and then getting Giannis in his place in the next season? Because this season is down the drain, sadly. Yes. Let us know. You can listen to, obviously, listen to us on wherever you're listening to us at, and then type in comments somewhere. Be like, this is what we feel, and then we will reply to you, and then we will see where that goes. Okay, we'll do one last talk about the future editions of this COVID-19 impacted Ballers Bay podcast, where we'll be discussing good things. So, do you want to tell our viewers about what we are planning to do?
Okay, so this is the plan I had. And we haven't really discussed the plan exactly, but basically I thought that we are going to discuss arguments for I think 8 players.
8 players
that have the argument for the greatest player, for the greatest of all time, right? And the way we are going to do it is we are going to do a live picking, right? So we're going to have a random pick. So for example, like if you get selected first, you can pick the first person you think can be a goat. Then I pick, and so we do like 4 and 4.
And then we
each episode we have
pit them against each other.
We pit them against each other, based on 1 to 8, and then kind of do that, and then on the episodes we give the argument for why they are the goat, and then we can have like a 10-minute debate on
We are taking it back to high school, y'all.
and then decide. I mean, we have to decide who the goat is by the end of the episode. Between the two.
Yes. And that person will get a call from us.
It will have some element.
What?
So it's in between, kind of like a live YouTube / podcast. So there is a live element where if someone joins us live, they can see our live debate, and they can find out who won in the end.
Absolutely.
So it's like so I thought it would be like a good mix of both.
That sounds amazing. So we need to get more subscribers there. So 0 viewers if you have a...
Yeah, I mean, I think if we like tell people about this, and then when we are ready to debate,
and they can also
I'm sure
the
goat debate. Yeah, they can, and we can do this on Instagram also. If YouTube is, I don't know if you know how to stream to Instagram.
You can't stream to Instagram. You can just do that Instagram live that we did last time. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to us. We are just as hurt by the NBA's absence as all of you, but we're trying to do this so that there's something that we can debate about. If you liked what we said, please let us know in the comments. If you hated what we said, please let us know in the comments. If, like us, you love Dennis Rodman, would love to meet him, then type Dennis Rodman come to Wallace Bay in the comments below, and then we will collect all of it, and then we'll send it to him, and we'll get him on the podcast. I'm sure if he can go to North Korea, he can come to Mumbai or Hungary, wherever. Yeah. We must apologize for the beginning of this stream, because I had no idea that the stream had begun. But due to some due diligence work done by Mr. Vineet, we realized it, and we fixed it pretty soon. So I think it's cool. I think by next episode, everything will be ironed out, and there'll be no more chinks in this armor.
That's what you said last time.
And that's what I said last time. But that was lockdown 2.0, and this is lockdown 4.0. So there are some mistakes have to be.
You said the same statement last time.
I did. Chinks have been removed. Chinks are gone. Actually, the Wallace Boy logo should have been there somewhere. Wallace Boy logo should have been here somewhere, but I couldn't manage to get it done. But next time, don't you worry about it. It's all taken care of. I've understood it, and we are almost hitting the 1 hour mark. So I'll let you guys go. Please follow us on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast started. Unless you get it at IVM Podcast, IVM Podcast. We are not there, but anywhere else we are there. So please check us out, and share, follow, subscribe, troll, do whatever you can. Okay, all right. We are a little tired of getting like 100% likes, like all likes on our videos. It just means that nobody important is watching it. So, yeah, y'all go change it up. No, mom, not you. You please continue liking the videos. Yes. Okay. All right. Vineet,
all right, good.
Please say bye to the guests. I mean, bye to the guest name. Please say bye, audience.
Bye to everybody.
Okay. All right. Cheers.